3 years, that is how long the United States has waited for the extradition of a man who is accused of kidnapping his 4 children between the ages of 10 and 13 and fleeing with them from the US to South Africa. Now, what if I told you that this man was arrested before and he was somehow let out on bail? Get your favorite beverage, because we are going to be talking about a controversial faith group, a man who has allegedly kidnapped his children, and what on earth were they doing in a farm in Upington. Now, this story has made headlines, and what we know is that there is this 41-year-old American citizen, and he has been quietly living in a farm in Upington, not the Northern Cape, near Upington. That is until Sunday, when everything came crashing down and the farm was raided by the Hawks as well as Interpol. Now, this man is connected to a controversial American faith group. They are known as the House of Ephraim, and they are accused of some serious things, especially illegal firearm possession and illegal immigration. Now, rules around firearms in the US are much different from what they are in South Africa. In South Africa, you need to go and get a permit for your gun. It is a very strenuous process. You can't just walk into a store and get one. And from what I understand, this group was preparing for the end of days. And that include allegations of stockpiling weapons and ammunition. And that was not the only thing that the Hawks found on the farm. They also found those 4 kidnapped children. They have been severed from their mother for a number of years. And we know that these cases are very heart-sore, where one parent flees the country with children, severing children from their maternal connection. And this is something that is pretty common. I've watched a few cases. It happens on both sides. Some mothers do it, some fathers do it. But at the end of the day, you are robbing a mother or a father of their child. Now, the most controversial thing about this is that this man was arrested back in March 2022. That is when the US issued their extradition request for him to be returned to the US. And he was living on a rented farm in the Kalahari desert. He was held without bail. There was someone who went on the stand and testified that he shouldn't get bail, but he somehow appealed it. And we're not too sure how or why he was let out. We are not too there is a lot of explaining that I believe has to be done, but we'll be waiting for further comments on that from the NPA. Now, the farm that he was found on belongs to a prophet by the name of Todd Burnick, and he is a very controversial man. He used to have these sermons on YouTube and Instagram, but I see they have since been removed. And he is a man who claims that he is gathering an army of true believers for the end times, for arming them for the end of the times to rise up with a living God. He teaches that a lot of modern interpretations and that theologians lied, and that Yeshua's covenant should have never ended, and that Americans should flee their own country and go to other countries because things are not great there. So for a little bit of background, basically from what I understand from their beliefs is that they accept the Old Testament side of things. Yeshua or Jesus, people believe that Jesus died for our sins, and that with his sacrifice he replaced the old covenant with the new covenant. Comment below if you have a better interpretation. I'm not a theologian. And from what I understand, this group, and they belong to the House of Ephraim, or Ephraim, however you want to say it, they believe that in the Old Testament way of things, which we know is a much harsher version of the Bible, and that they were preparing according to these rules for the end times. Now, on that farm, police and the Hawks and Interpol, they found 7 men and 4 women with firearms and ammunition in legal possession of them. And they found 13 more people, 3 men and 10 women who were in South Africa illegally. From what I understand, they came in legally with their US visas, and they just never renewed them. And that is already a red flag for me, because why do you have 3 men and 10 women? I'm not too sure what is happening in that group, but I think there's going to be more coming out, because normally there doesn't seem to be an equal distribution of genders. And we also know that the 4 children aged 10 to 14 that were allegedly kidnapped were also found, but they have been reunited with their mother and they have gone back to the US. Now, after years of stalling, Interpol has finally got them. And the end of times prophecy is not going to save these people from a courtroom. But what I wanted to talk to you about today is that there has been allegations coming out from various parts of the world that South Africa is attracting extremist groups, that people come from all over the world in order to train on farms because we have such a wide variety of space. And do you think that as an effort on our government that we should be cracking down more on more extremist groups? Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you like what I do, consider giving me a like and a follow, and hit that like button and subscribe. I also have a different channel where I talk about the creepier side of things. So if you are into some spooky stories for Halloween, please make sure to follow me on there. Thanks so much and have a good one.